Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of selections from Herodotus, and I'm skipping forward in Book 1 to chapter 29. Chapters 26 to 28 describe the rise of the Lydian Empire under King Croesus, and I'm skipping forward to chapter 29, which introduces the story of Solon, or Solon as we often pronounce him nowadays, to King Croesus. There's some problems here with the chronology because Solon did his legislation in 594 BC and he travelled in the 10 years following. Now Croesus gained the throne in 560, so it's not possible that Solon met with Croesus in the manner we get described here. There may have been some later interview, but not as what we have recorded here. There have been some recent attempts by some scholars to reconcile the datings by pushing back the reign of Croesus, but this may be just one of Herodotus' stories that he's picked up somewhere and he's written it up. Exactly the full truth of it, I'll leave the commentators to discuss. We begin with Katastramenon de Teuton kai pros epictomenou kroisu ludoisi apicniontai es sardis ac madzusas pluto aloi te hoi pantes ectes helados sophistai hoi teuton ton chronon et tuncanon iontes hos hekastos auton apicnioito kai de kai Solon aner Athenaios hos Athenaios nomus Keliusas poiesas epidemisi etia deca katatheorias prophoson ek plosas hina de metina ton nomon anencaste lusai ton etheto. So a very long sentence here. Now it begins with two genitive absolutes. This is from katastrepho in the passive, perfect passive participle here in the genitive. It's a standard word for being subdued, and he's referring back to all of these other places that are mentioned in the earlier chapter that Croesus had taken command of. So when these places had been subjugated, and we get another genitive absolute, Croesus, when we get this present participle here, it's pros plus epi plus kataomai is the verb. Kataomai is to possess, and the pros means in addition to here. So it's something like while Croesus was still possessing or adding lands in addition to the Lydians, or perhaps while he was still adding to the Lydian Empire. Now the subject here is aloi, so other men, apicniontai, historic present from aphic neomai, and we've seen before that we get the D aspiration commonly in Ionic Greek. So others were coming into Sardis. This is an accusative. Sardis, which was at its height in wealth, and all the sophistai, ectes helados. Now at this stage, the sophistai is not the sophists of later times. This really just means the wise men at this point. The word sophistes takes on rather negative meanings a bit later on. The sophists who made money from teaching people. Here it's just the wise men. So all the wise men from Greece, and still have the verb they came, who those who chanced being at this time. So those who were alive at this time, those who chanced being. Hos hekastos auton apiknia ni oito. Now this is a rather odd phrase here. The verb is in the optative, so it's an optative of frequency. So it's literally as each of them might come. So in other words, it has the sense of they came for various different reasons. So it's a very, very general expression. Some translators say on several errands. So they came, as each of them came at various times for various reasons, is the sense of it. You could just render it literally as each of them might come. At kaide kai, very common expression in Greek and very common in Herodotos, and indeed also the Athenian man Solon, we normally pronounce it as Solon, who poiesas is our participle, he having made laws for the Athenians, and then we get a dative aorist participle here, having bid. So he made laws for the Athenians who asked him to do so. So when he'd done all that, apedemesi, this is from apodemio, to go away from your demos, from your land. So he went abroad for etia deca, for 10 years. Now the kata goes with the prophasin. Prophasis means sometimes an excuse, and we've got another aorist participle here. So having sailed out on the pretense of theoria, or we might say sightseeing. It's connected with theoria. Theoria is a spectacle, something you go to see. So he sailed out for the reason of sightseeing. So that's what he did. But in order that, indeed, may with the anankaste, this is from anankasdo, this is the aorist passive subjunctive, in order that he might not be compelled, loosai, to relax, or literally to loose, so to relax, tina, any of the laws, those which tone etheto he had placed. So he went out on the pretext of sightseeing, but in order that, in fact, he might not be compelled to loosen, so to relax, any of the laws which he had laid down. Autoi ga uk hoia te eisin auto poiesa Athenaioi. For the Athenians themselves, now this is that hoios te eimi idiom, meaning I am not able to, and this is the past tense. So for the Athenians were not able, poiesai, to do this. Or kioisi ga megaloisi kat ekonto deca etia kreisestai, nomoisi tous an svi solon thetai. For, this is a passive from kat echo, literally they were held down, so they were prevented by great oaths, megaloisi horkioisi, they were prevented by great oaths, they were compelled, they were held down, so they were compelled by great oaths, kreisthai, from kraomai plus a dative, to make use of the laws which Solon thetai, this is aorist subjunctive, he had laid down spi for spisi, for them, for a period of 10 years. So they were compelled by great oaths to make use of the laws which Solon had laid down, and to do that for 10 years. And that's the end of chapter 29.